On a humid summer morning, Madison Bell, a modest and composed maintenance worker, was assigned to assist with a special underground transit tour. The city had opened its doors for a select group of city planners and VIP guests eager to explore the labyrinthine network beneath bustling streets. Madison, dressed in her standard-issue overalls, moved quietly amidst the throngs of polished shoes and tailored suits. Her attire, a stark contrast to the crisp uniforms of the guides and shiny surfaces of the guests, marked her as part of the background, a fixture among the steel beams and flickering lights. Her flashlight beam danced along the tunnel walls as she carried out her routine checks, methodically inspecting the rails and noting any irregularities. The guests, meanwhile, oohed and awed at the structural wonders around them, glancing occasionally at Madison with faint curiosity. An elderly gentleman's scoff reached her ears as he turned to his companion, joking, "She probably doesn't even understand half of what's going on here." Madison, her gaze steady, ignored the barb, focusing instead on potential safety hazards. As the group moved deeper into the bowels of the city, an ominous noise disrupted the tour. A low, insistent gurgle rose from an unseen source, building in intensity. Suddenly, water erupted violently from a breach in the tunnel wall, a cascade rushing towards the tracks. Panic gripped the crowd instantly, screams and shouts reverberating through the confined space. Madison's internal alarms rang louder than the chaos around her. She took a deep breath, grounding herself amidst the rising waters and pounding heartbeats, ready to act. The clamor within the tunnel escalated as the water poured with relentless urgency. Madison, standing on instinct honed through years of solitary work and diligence, immediately surveyed the scene. The stream, now quickly pooling at her boots, left no room for hesitation. Chaos reigned as panicked voices overlapped in dissonant cries for help. People crammed against narrow walls, eyes wide with fear, their bodies feeling trapped in a space that seemed to shrink ever so menacingly with each gushing second. A tour guide attempted to regain control, his voice swallowed by the deafening sound of rushing water. Madison knew that every moment counted. Setting aside any thoughts of herself, she spoke with a calm authority that cut sharply through the noise. "Everyone, listen. We need to move away from the water's path." Some turned toward the sound of her voice, confusion painting their faces. A woman clutched her partner's arm, nodding somewhat dazedly in Madison's direction, while others remained rigid, paralyzed by the unexpected crisis. "Please," Madison implored, injecting her voice with as much assurance as she could muster. "Follow me and we'll get to safety. We need to head to the emergency exit at the far end of the tunnel." One skeptical man shook his head in disbelief, eyes narrowed. "And why should we trust you?" he shouted over the din. Undeterred, Madison met his gaze. "Because I know this city's veins better than anyone," she replied firmly. Drawing from her extensive experience with the underground pathways, she mapped the escape route aloud, explaining each section's idiosyncrasies until she saw hesitant nods of understanding. With the flow of water quickening, pummeled by the relentless force of the breach, Madison made a decisive move. She flung her flashlight into the air and watched as its beam arched gracefully before landing on the track ahead, the light now a beacon guiding the way. Without another word, she turned and waded down the path, her sturdy boots fighting the encroaching waters. Her quiet determination sparked a shift, motivating a few cautious guests to begin following her lead. Madison's familiarity with the tunnels allowed her to anticipate potential hitches. She swift-footedly approached the emergency stairwell, a critical juncture in their escape plan. "These steps lead toward an elevated maintenance passage. Use them to get above the rising water," she called back, her voice unwavering though chaos brewed before her. Her strategic moves began to pull individuals from shock, lending them the courage needed to move with purpose. As tour participants wound their way up the rusted iron steps, murmurs of gratitude and relief preceded them. Madison stayed with those needing help navigating, guiding each unsure step with steady reassurance. Out of the corner of her eye, Madison spotted a team of her colleagues, their faces a collage of urgency and concern as they attempted to manage the water. Recognizing her chance, she bounded over, drenched and breathless. "We have to shut the main. The valve should be this way," she directed, her voice commanding despite the cacophony. With Madison orchestrating, the team combating the flood worked in tandem. She united them under her firm guidance, delegating tasks, and deploying everyone at their strengths. Her instructions were clear, allowing the workers to maneuver the stubborn will with confidence until they managed to choke the once gushing breach into a definitive halt. Meanwhile, those guests previously disdainful and dismissive of the quiet maintenance worker found renewed respect as they clambered into safety. Their cries of panic softened into hushed admiration, their previously loud skepticism dissolving into recognition of Madison's expert handling of the precarious situation. "This lady saved us." An astonished voice hovered nearby, spoken like the flicker of a flame catching the wind. As the tumult subsided and the once violent waters surrendered to puddled stillness, the stunned crowd turned collectively toward Madison. Damp, dirty, and stoic, she stood unassuming yet resolute amid the chaos she quelled. Her presence, firm and significant, filled the space left by the retreating clamor. Finally, after ensuring everyone was accounted for and safe, Madison allowed herself the briefest exhale, not of relief but necessity. Humanity's abundance of voices converged around her, their once dismissive nature replaced by profound quietude and gratitude. Her colleagues approached, their previous indifference now replaced by envy and acknowledgement of the simple power in her resolve. Even the gentleman who'd earlier scoffed at her ability appeared contrite in the glow of the emergency lighting, nodding sagely with newfound awareness of her integral knowledge. "Thank you," he managed, sincerity coloring his words. Madison nodded graciously, understanding the transformation the event etched into her spectators, a change only possible through the sweep of unforeseen chaos. As the chamber settled into eerie tranquility, her flashlight lay forgotten amid the pools of stagnant water, its beam finally extinguished. But in the eyes of those around her, Madison herself became the beacon that had illuminated the path to safety, one who wielded quiet strength, sure of her footing even when the ground beneath threatened to dissolve. The echo of footsteps and muted conversations from the safe zone faded into memory as Madison found a quiet corner to process the day's turbulent events. Her mind, awash with the grit of the last few hours, drifted into flashbacks of her earlier life, a time when the course of her path had seemed secure and bright. Years before this tunnel had become an integral piece of her story, Madison had been a bright-eyed civil engineering graduate, full of ambition and buoyed by the prospects her degree promised. She thrived in her early career, working on innovative transit infrastructure projects that promised to transform urban landscapes. Her knack for precision and comprehensive understanding of mechanical systems earned her recognition among peers. She immersed herself in her work, finding joy and purpose as part of a greater movement towards societal advancement. Her notable involvement in cutting-edge underground works provided valuable experience. She mastered emergency response tactics and developed an unshakable resilience born from braving the chaos of construction amid city life. Her swift thinking in crisis, a skill obtained through rigorous training, was second nature. She commanded respect and space wherever she tread. But ambition's climb often coursed alongside shadows. A serious accident unfolded one crisp autumn morning, a structural failure during routine tunnel reinforcement. A collapsing ceiling heralded pandemonium as Madison found herself buried in darkness and debris. Pain seared through her body as she grappled with unimaginable physical trauma. Hours later, rescued but irreparably marked, she began the slow and painful road to rehabilitation. Hospitals and therapy rooms became her world, each session shaped her resolve to reclaim her life where she'd left it. Yet acceptance of her changed capabilities challenged every fiber of her being. She faced months confined to her bed, the unending uncertainty of whether she would ever return to the field as she'd envisioned. The accident and resulting injury proved an insurmountable barrier on her previous path. Her position dwindled, and her dreams of grandeur shifted dramatically. As lingering limitations tapered her career trajectory, financial strains mounted, fueled by relentless bills and long rehabilitation processes. Madison was forced to embrace a different reality, one less glamorous but no less significant. With a relentless drive to provide for her young daughter, Madison found herself navigating the corridors of less prestigious jobs. Maintenance roles offered consistency and necessity, though the work remained far less hailed than the ambitious projects she once led. Every late shift was grueling, but she soldiered on with a determination that never dulled, pushing through arduous nights to carry home stories of trains and tunnels to her daughter, whose eyes always shone with admiration. Madison stood against isolation, brushing close to the formidable walls of marginalization in a field where her previous acclaims felt more like distant echoes with every passing opportunity lost to the demands of single motherhood. She taught herself to re-embrace small victories, like keeping the rail lines running smoothly through the frost and sleet or successfully preventing equipment malfunctions during record summer heats. Her journey of resilience strengthened her core, delivering grit that shadowed the twinkling glories of the past and subverted the dismissiveness she regularly faced from those who could not see beyond the patina of her uniform. Madison persevered quietly, knowing full well that capability wasn't always reflected in what others saw. Memories floated up, mirroring facets of the flood experience she'd just navigated. Each recalled scene evidenced the years of practice in sections of flooded tunnels, her steps deliberate against risks others refused even to acknowledge. Madison was no stranger to confronting doubt. She bore it quietly, countering the dismissive gazes with resolute stoicism carved from deep within, sculpted by years of learned wisdom gleaned through encounters with shadows cast by unexpected turns. Her vision, a clear yet rugged weaving of resilience and adaptability, became her distinguished talent, one relying not only on technical prowess but unwavering mental fortitude. Throughout the shifts worked in stations, her encounters with seasoned technicians further contributed to intricate layers of knowledge hidden beneath the guise of the everyday worker. Ironically, each exhausting shift in maintenance roles unknowingly primed her for moments like today, moments of clamoring crisis amid bouncing lights and darkened rails. Back in her corner of the tunnel, she drew a steadying breath, acknowledging now that every step through adversity had been a lesson silently fortifying her spirit. She emerged from her thoughts as the noise of the present returned, nudging back into focus. For Madison, acknowledging the power of quiet persistence resonated deeply. Her route was never through triumphant stories of triumph, but rather through the tapestry of human resolve built over time and circumstance. Her heart steadied itself, continuing the rhythmic cadence she had relied heavily on, taking solace in the knowledge of lessons paid in time, experience, and silent tears shed fearlessly under sheltering heaven's now yielding purpose. Through the blended experiences, Madison understood her role in a mosaic far greater, painted with determination and resilience despite enduring frailties. She wore her scars as armor, not hindrance, filled with appreciation for the journey that readied her for any pervasive challenge carried through life's cavernous depths. As the last echoes of panicked footsteps and urgent whispers died away in the tunnel, the remaining crowd began to trace what had just happened. Awash with the adrenaline fading from crisis to calm, they began to grasp the magnitude of what Madison had done. The tide had turned not just on account of emergency lights or retreating waters, but because of one woman's innate ability to lead amidst the chaos. News of the incident above ground spread with swift wings, propelled by guest postings and real-time recordings. Social media buzzed with the morning spectacle, uploading Madison's unassuming strength onto screens beyond the tunnel network. Videos captured her clear, assertive directions as she led the guests to safety, with countless captions exclaiming respect and gratitude for her actions. In the days following the event, Madison noticed the steady stream of acknowledgement growing in her daily sphere. Strangers who had once looked through her in mundane routine now greeted her with nods that carried recognition. Conversations were peppered with praises of her bravery, holding sincerity that pierced the cynical shield she had built over years of dismissal. Her colleagues, those who had treated her as just another cog in the machine, approached her with newfound respect. Awkward admiration replaced their previous indifference, as they spoke of her calm efficiency as a quality they never truly understood until witnessing it firsthand. "You really took charge down there," remarked one worker, awe in their voice. Madison, still absorbing these shifts, acknowledged them modestly, her heart warmed by sincere gratitude. Her role was no longer invisible, her skills no longer underestimated. She was coming to understand the value of being seen, not for the grand gestures she once aspired to, but through the unassuming dedication to her craft that had remained steadfast. Meanwhile, media began delving into Madison's past, keen to unravel the story of the woman who saved the day. Old photos surfaced, depicting her in hard hats and work boots, standing firmly amidst early accomplishments in transit engineering. Praise from previous co-workers highlighted her astute problem-solving and exceptional coordination during training simulations. The narrative of Madison Bell, once relegated to whispers beneath the earth, now echoed with resonance, celebrating the long thread of quiet excellence she had woven through her life. VIP guests returned to the site, some eyes still wide with relief and gratitude. Madison found herself surrounded by thank yous, sincere offerings that warmed her heart in ways she had long forgotten she needed. Among them was the elderly gentleman who had originally dismissed her presence with disdain. Now, humility softened his features as he approached with genuine contrition. "I misjudged you," he admitted, sincerity resonant in his voice. "Thank you for what you did. I see now the remarkable depth beyond appearances." Madison offered a gentle smile, accepting his words as part of the broader tide of acknowledgement now surrounding her. Her anonymity, the shelter she had adapted for solitude, was yielding to a recognition that felt as unfamiliar as it was welcome. The ripple effect of gratitude widened as stories of her past surfaced online. Former colleagues shared anecdotes of her early days in engineering, praising the unyielding work ethic present even amid the smallest of tasks. Madison found herself at the crossroads of past and present, the echoes of her early career newly relevant within the scope of her daily routine. Her daughter, eyes wide with admiration, embraced the whirlwind of recognition with pride. "Mom, you're a hero," she declared one evening after witnessing the news report. Her statement held more than childlike admiration, it affirmed the depth of unspoken respect seeded through their quiet moments over the years. As her daughter's echo reverberated in Madison's mind, the reverberation of past achievements now anchored anew with meaning. Her path, unglamorous but unwavering, stood businesslike within the newfound framework of recognition. She sensed doors opening on the horizon never previously considered, doors offering vetted opportunities to rightfully secure her talents in adequacy and voice. In work environments, colleagues no longer brushed off her insights. Their attitudes, seasoned with learned respect, embraced her as an equal, not confined by appearances or presumption. She sat as part of team discussions now, her contributions sought instead of merely absorbed, her experience serving as the linchpin holding together a web of shared expertise. Even the regular commuters, familiar with her worn work clothes and watchful eyes, began to nod in greeting, their previous apathy giving way to newfound respect. They sought her out when minor mechanical glitches emerged, trusting her judgment over flickering lights and station announcements. As the key holder to these dynamic spaces, her feet touched ground with renewed purpose. The backlogged hours she spent perfecting the unseen infrastructure now bore fruit beyond individual victories. Her personal journey and professional resilience resonated with those she encountered, illuminating her path with a broader spectrum. The light she once accepted humbly continued to illuminate those around, a surety among intersecting railways and divergent paths. Through enduring shadows and glowing reciprocation, the inspired narrative that had unfurled pressed gently against her heart, continuing to shape the unfolding story with reverence. For the first time in several years, Madison looked upon her own reflection with pride unrestricted by empty ambition. She was, here and now, wholly enough, crafted and in the making, seen and heard in redefining ways. In the weeks following the incident, Madison found her world opening up in ways she hadn't imagined possible. The flood in the tunnel had, counterintuitively, cleared a path for new beginnings and opportunities, each reflecting the tenacity she had shown under pressure. One afternoon, amidst the steady hum of her maintenance work, an unexpected visitor made their way toward her little corner of the station. The woman approached with a purposeful stride and a warm, genuine smile that reached her eyes. She introduced herself as Emily Tran, a coordinator with the Regional Emergency Management Foundation. Madison Bell, you've made quite an impression. Your actions during the tunnel flood caught our attention, Emily began, her tone aligning with the respect Madison had recently grown accustomed to. We'd love to have someone with your skills and calm demeanor join our elite paramedic recertification program. Madison paused, taken aback by the offer. Her mind raced with considerations of what this opportunity entailed, the rigorous training, the potential to evolve her career, and the balancing act it would require with her responsibilities as a mother. Emily must have sensed her hesitation. We know you're a single mom, she continued, and we're prepared to support you through childcare assistance and flexible scheduling. Your expertise is exactly what we need, and it's time your skills are recognized and utilized to their fullest potential. As Madison listened, she felt a shift within her, a rekindling of the passion and purpose she once held tightly. She recalled the gratitude of those she'd helped during the flood, their thanks a reminder of the impact her actions could hold. And then she thought of her daughter, whose pride filled her heart with a quiet, unyielding strength that now urged her forward. With a deep breath, Madison made her decision. I'd be honored to join, she said, her voice steady with renewed conviction. Emily beamed, and they shook hands, sealing Madison's commitment to this new avenue, one in which she would no longer hide her capability or past achievements. The days that followed were a whirlwind. Madison faced the challenges of the recertification program head-on, her years of experience providing a solid foundation while new techniques and theories enriched her understanding. She was both student and leader, adapting to the learning curve with an eagerness shaped by her journey. Her daughter watched her closely, seeing the determination in her mother's eyes, the way she approached her work with renewed vigor and purpose. Evenings were filled with playful study sessions, Madison sharing the day's lessons through storytelling, instilling a sense of curiosity and pride in her child. In time, Madison donned the sleek uniform of her new role, an emblem of the responsibilities she now embraced with open arms. It was an outfit that symbolized her evolution, a far cry from the beloved, well-worn overalls she had grown accustomed to, yet no less significant. It felt like a new skin, comfortable and affirming, wrapped around the essence of who she had always been. Her first shift as a recertified paramedic was a blend of familiarity and discovery, her heartbeat steady as she navigated the intricacies of the station in this enhanced role. Her colleagues, once dismissive, now recognized her as an authority, seeking her insights and supporting her seamlessly in the field. Madison embraced each emergency call as an opportunity to blend her foundational knowledge of the transit system with the new skills she acquired, her calm precision bringing clarity to situations that might otherwise unravel. Her efforts did not go unnoticed. Co-workers lauded her leadership, and commuters who recognized her from the flood offered grateful words and knowing smiles as she passed. The recognition and gratitude had reincarnated her sense of self, dissolving the layers of disappointment that had once clouded her vision. Here was a new chapter, one she controlled with purpose and steadfast resolve, enriched by every bit of the past she carried with her. At the close of another transformative day, Madison returned home, greeted by open arms and an enthusiastic hug from her daughter. They shared a quiet moment of gratitude, understanding without words the significance of this new chapter woven into the fabric of their lives. It was not just a story of transformation for Madison. It was a narrative that rippled through those around her, touching lives beyond the present as she championed the value of resilience and hidden strength brought to light. She was no longer another nameless figure in the background but a committed, visible force, ready to embrace each new turn with humility and pride. Madison Bell, once adrift upon uncertain waters, had found her course, one she would navigate with the same vigilance and heart that had saved a tunnel full of lives, reminding her, and every soul she encountered, that true strength often lies just beneath the surface, waiting for the courage to rise and claim its place in the sun.